So now I have a crypto class. Let's go ahead and start using it in our password manager. So I'm going to start by copying the crypto class and moving over to password manager. I'll paste into here. And when I did that, it set the package to com.example.mark.password manager automatically. So this is good to go here. And then we have to figure out how we're going to deal with our main activity. So there's basically three different things that I need to worry about. I need to worry about when the app starts, when the user logs in, and when the app ends. So I'm going to make use of both the shared preferences and the bundle. So the shared preferences, I'm going to store the things that I want to be permanent. If the user backs out of the app and then starts it at a later time, or the user turns off the Android and turns it back on, these are the things that I want to have available on complete restart. And so that's going to include both the encrypted version of the accounts, account names and passwords, and also the salt that was used to encrypt those passwords, encrypt those accounts. So those are going to go on the shared preferences. And then on the bundle, I'm going to store an encrypted version of the password. So I'll use the same salt, and I'll use the salt for both the password and for the salt in order to encrypt the password. So I'm not going to store the password in the bundle in plain text. Even though it's probably safe, I'm not entirely sure. So I'm going to encrypt that as well. But I'm only going to use the salt to do that. And so in theory, if somebody can get root access, can get my salt out of the prefs file, understands all of the crypto here, they could, in theory, use the salt to reverse my password from the bundle. So they have to get the bundle, they have to get the salt, they have to understand the crypto. It's a pretty high hurdle. Not entirely safe, but it's probably pretty good. So let's start with some member variables. So I'm going to need to have the account ciphertext, which is going to be a string. And I'll set that to null. And I'm going to need the salt, which is also going to start out being null. And I'm going to need the mPassword, and this is going to be whatever value the user enters, so it'll start out being null. And then I need a couple of tags, because I'm going to use some tags to put stuff in my shared preferences. So I'll have one for the ciphertext. I'll call it cipher tag. And I'll have one for the salt. And that's also going in shared preferences. And I'm going to need one for the password, the encrypted password. And this is going in the bundle. So that should be everything. Start at the top. So in onCreate, if I got a bundle, a saved instance state is not equal to null, then I want to try to get the cipher password off of here. So let's go ahead and string is equal to saved instance state dot get string, and I'm going to pass in my password tag. So if I got a ciphertext, then I want to decrypt it. Before I can decrypt it, though, I need to know the salt. So before I get to this point, I want to try to get my ciphertext and salt from the shared preferences. And then salt is equal to prefs.getString, and this is going to be my salt tag. And account ciphertext is equal to prefs.getString ciphertag, and this one takes default values as well. So fix that up. So now this will either be null or a string, this will be null or a string. If I got a cipher password and cipher password's not null and salt is not null, then I can go ahead and decrypt the password. So to decrypt the password, I need to generate my keys. So secret keys is generate key from password, and I'm just going to give it msalt twice. So not completely secure, but better than nothing. And I'm going to go ahead and surround with try catch. So now I have a key, and then my plain text, well, I'll go ahead and get a ciphertext ivmac civ is new ciphertext ivmac of cipher password, and then I can set and password equal decrypt string, and then this is going to take my CIV and my keys. And once again, I have to add another catch clause. So if both of these things worked, password should now be set to the password in clear text. If I either didn't have a salt or didn't have a password, or the password is wrong or whatever, everything's still going to be null. So if I did get a password, I want to use that password to decrypt my ciphertext. So I'm going to generate a new set of keys using the same salt. And this time I'm going to use password and salt. And then I'm going to get another ciphertext from my string. And this time I'm going to use account ciphertext. And then I can set my actual account list to decrypt string, account ciphertext, keys, account keys. decrypt string account CID account keys. So now I have a block of text that represents my account names and passwords. Okay, so now that we have the accounts text, we have to do something with it. And basically we need an account list fragment, an account item fragment, and we need to set the initial accounts there. So when we rotated the Android orientation or otherwise paused it and resumed it, there was already an account list fragment in the account list. But we're going to have to recreate that and reinitialize it so that we can set the correct account values. So I'm going to create a new account list fragment, account item fragment. And then I'm going to need to implement a new method here to initialize it based on these accounts. So I'm going to say fragment dot set accounts, and I'll pass in my accounts text. And then I have to implement that over here. So first thing is I'm going to get rid of all of these default accounts. And then I'm going to add a set accounts method. So here's get accounts. So set accounts is going to take a string, and this is going to be the account text. So now the format that I'm going to use for the account text is going to look like this. I'm going to have account name, colon, account password, and then a blank line, a new line, and then account name 2, colon, account password 2, and a new line, and account name 3, colon, account password 3, and so on. So the first thing I want to do is split this account text on new lines. So that's going to return an array of strings called lines, which is going to be account text dot split on \n. So that's going to give me an array of lines, and then for int I equals 0, I less than lines dot length I plus plus. So I'm going to go through each line in the array, and I'm going to split those based on a colon. So string array params equals lines sub I dot split. And this time I'm going to split on the colon. So now I have account name in param sub 0 and account password in param sub 1. But what if the user used a colon in either account name or account password? That's going to give me problems, because if I split on the colon, I'm going to get 3 things back instead of 2, and I won't know where the original colon was supposed to go. So what I'm going to do when I create this string is I'm going to URL encode account name and also URL encode the password. So that way I know that instead of colon anywhere in the string, it's going to be % and then the hex value for colon. So this is just like when you go to a URL that has funny characters in it and it says %3f, %2d, whatever. That's what it's doing. It's URL encoding the string. So this is going to be the URL encoded account name, and I have to decode it if I want to use it in my list item. So the way I decode it is I say string name is equal to URL decoder dot decode param sub 0, and then I have to give it the character set, which is UTF-8. And then this can throw an error if it's an unsupported encoding. So I'm going to surround it with try catch. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the password. Is URL decoder.decode param sub 1 UTF-8. Now I have a name and password, so I can create a new account item. Pass in name and password. And then I need to add the item to my adapter. So I want to say madapter.add item. So this is going to go through each line and add an item for each line, and should initialize all the values correctly. As long as I'm here, let me go ahead and add a getAccounts method. So this one's going to return a string, getAccounts, and it's not going to take any arguments. And here, I'll create a new text called result, which is empty. And this won't be the most efficient code, but this isn't going to be a huge amount of text, so I don't need to worry about efficiency all that much. For I equals 0, I less than m adapter dot get count I plus plus, and I should have said int I here. Hold on, int I. That should have been get count as well. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to set my account item equal m adapter get item at I, and then my encoded name is going to be URL encoder dot encode the item dot get name UTF-8. And once again, this is going to throw an exception, so let's run the try catch. And then my string encoded password is URL encoder.encode item.getPassword in UTF-8. And then I can set my result string equal to result plus encoded name plus the colon plus encoded password plus a new line. So this is going to glue together the strings in the same format that setAccounts is expecting. And at the end, I can just return my result string. So I already have a getAccounts and account item fragment, so let me take a look at that for a sec. Yeah, I started to define that. I forgot it, so get rid of that. I had stubbed that before. So I think that's all I need for this. So let's go back to our main activity. So I create the account, create the fragment, I set the accounts in the fragment, and then I need to replace the list fragment with the account list. So I'm going to copy this part of the code and put it here. And so I'm getting the account, the fragment manager, starting a transaction. I'm going to add my fragment to list fragment. I'm not going to do anything to the content fragment. I'll just leave it with whatever it is. I might have to fix that in a second, but and then I'll commit it. So that should be everything on startup if I start with a bundle. I have a little red here. So account list.addAccount. So I must have broken something there. Let me take a look. So where's my add account here? Okay, well, I must have accidentally deleted that when I was editing, so let me go ahead and fix that. And it's going to take an item, and that will just be madapter.add item. I think that's all that was. Okay, so now we have the startup side handled. Now we have to handle the shutdown side. And I'm going to do everything in on-save instance state. So override public void on-save instance state. And this is going to get a bundle saved instance state. And if there's a password in assault, then I'm going to go ahead and save all my stuff. If there isn't a password, then the user isn't logged in, and so I'm not going to do anything at all. I'm just going to pass right on through to super on save instance state. That way, if there was some account information and the user did not log in successfully, I won't overwrite the encrypted account information with junk. So at a later point, when the proper owner of the device attempts to log in, the cipher stuff will still be there. So first I want to check if and password, and this is only going to be set if the user is successfully logged in. If password not equal null. So the first thing I want to do is generate a brand new salt. So I'm going to create a new string called salt, and that's going to be equal to salt string of generate salt. And this is going to need a try catch. And then once I have the salt, by the way, if you need to import this, go ahead and just import the salt string and import generate salt. So now I have a salt, I'm going to generate a key based on just the salt. So secret keys is generate key from password, and I'm going to use salt and salt, so not completely secure. And then I'm going to encrypt the password. So encrypt with secret keys and password keys. And then this is also going to throw another exception. And I have a little problem here. Oh, so I need, this is going to return a CIV, so I need to convert it to a string. Okay, and then I can store the cipher pass in the bundle. So save instance state dot put string, and I want my password tag is going to be cipher pass, and I'm also going to have to save my salt in the shared prefs and my ciphertext in the shared prefs. So let's get the shared preferences. And shared preferences editor. Okay, and then editor put string, and this one is going to be the salt tag, and I'm going to put my salt in there. And now I have to re-encrypt the account data. So string, and then my account list. So I should have saved up here. So I forgot to do that. I need to set account list to this account list. So let's use account list here. And then this is account list 2, and so is this. Alright, so now my account list has the right thing in there. So string account is equal to account list dot get accounts. So that's getting my account string. And now I'm going to encrypt that with a new set of keys that I'm going to generate using the password in the salt. So secret keys, passkeys, or account keys, is equal to generate key from password, and password, my new salt, and then my ciphertext is equal to encrypt my account information using my account keys to string. Okay, so now I have the ciphertext, and then the salt and the ciphertext I can save in my shared preferences. So I put the salt already. Now I'm going to put the ciphertext. And that should be everything. So I believe I have saved everything successfully. Now, just to make things completely safe, I'm going to try to have all the encryption stuff first and then save all this stuff after that. That way, if I get a problem with encryption, I'll throw to this error without changing anything. So I'm only going to change stuff if everything is has worked correctly. So I'm going to move this down to after where the encryption happens. And I'm also going to move this down to here. So here I do all the encryption, then I save the salt and the ciphertext, and finally I put the cipherpass in the bundle. Alright, so I think that's both sides. The only other thing that I need to do is when the user logs in. So here's the login submit. So when the user logs in, I call isValid a valid password, and I pass in the password. So how do I know when the password is valid? Basically, if I can decrypt the ciphertext using the password and using the salt, then I know that the password was valid. Or if the ciphertext and salt are null, then I know that the user has never logged in successfully, and so I'm starting from scratch. So first I'm going to check if msalt is equal null, then I know I'm starting from scratch. So so I don't have anything to decrypt. All I have to do is set password equal to password and return true. Okay, so this is going to be the first time the user tries to log in. Else, if there is a salt, then what I'm going to try to do is try to decrypt the ciphertext. So I get the salt at the same time as I get ciphertext. So I have to go through the same thing all over again. I want to get my secret keys. Generate key from password. I'm passing in password and msalt. And this is going to throw an error. So try catch. So this time, if I go ahead and set account equal to decrypt string, account ciphertext using keys. And then, actually I need to make a CIV here first, so ciphertext IV next CIV equal new an account. So now I have a CIV object, and I'm going to try to decrypt it, and that's also going to throw an exception, so I'll add that catch clause. So basically, the way the Mac works, the message authentication code, is if I successfully decrypt this message, then it will match the Mac and no problem will happen. If the decryption is unsuccessful, then it's going to throw a general security exception. And so if I get here, I know the password's incorrect. So I'm not going to set mPassword at all. I'm just going to leave mPassword null, and I'm going to return false. So login fails. Or if I try to convert to an unsupported encoding exception, I'll also return false. I don't think this will ever actually happen because I'm just using UTF-8, but just in case, right? So either way, if login is successful, then I'm going to get here, I'm going to set mPassword equal to password, and then, and this is valid, here I have some other stuff to do. So basically I have to restructure this a little bit. So if it's valid, instead of creating the account list in here, I'm going to create the account list up in the valid password thing. So let me just go ahead and cut these 3 lines and put them in here. So create my new account list item, replace the content with the logged in fragment, replace the list fragment with maccount_list, and then I also have to call maccount_list dot set accounts to my decrypted account text. So since I moved that over here, I also have to do something in the case of passwords. So once again, in this case, there are no accounts, but I still want to set the welcome. So let me go ahead and copy this code again. And I'm going to paste it here. And it's going to be the same, except I'm not going to do that part. Okay, so I think that's everything. I can get rid of this. Don't need that anymore. Well, that was sort of a lot. Let's see if it works. I have a red light somewhere, so let's see where that red line is. Oh. Well, let's go ahead and build it, and it'll tell me where the error is. Make project. All right. Oh, missing return statement. So can you actually get there? Yeah, here we're going to return true. There we go. So that should be all the paths. Yep. Okay, so let's try this now. I know I'm going to have one bug. If you're viewing an account and you rotate the phone, I'll probably get the wrong result because I haven't set the current account. I haven't stored that. So let's go ahead and try to avoid that to start. So I'm going to enter my original password. I'm going to use not swordfish this time. I will use fruitbat. Okay, fruitbat. So now I'm logged in. There's nothing in the account list. And go ahead and create an account. Have an account. Let's do one more. And we'll just do one more. Okay, so probably going to get an error if I try to rotate now, so let's show this one instead for testing purposes. And I'm going to rotate. Not quite. Okay, so not quite. I didn't call editor.commit here, so let's go ahead and stop this. Too slow. And let me go ahead and add that editor.commit. And debugging was really slow with this crypto code, so I'm just going to test it and see if it works. Go back here and log in. Okay, log in. And we'll add an account. One more. Okay, and then we'll show this so we don't get an error. Rotate. Okay, so this time we got an error, so that's better. So line 96 is right there. So M adapter isn't set yet. So I can't actually call this until after this is completed. So basically, I'm calling this thing too early. So let's go ahead and put a check in here. Actually, so okay, so what I'm going to do is when the user calls set accounts, I'm going to set m account string to the accounts. And then I'm only going to do this part if the adapter exists already. So if m adapter not equal null, then I'll go ahead and do all this stuff. Otherwise, I'm going to skip it. And then at the end of on create, after I have my m adapter, I'm going to call set accounts again and pass in m account string. If m account string not equal null, then I'll do it here. So that way, if I try to set the account string before my adapter is defined, I'll just be saving the account string for later, and then when the thing's created, then I'll go ahead and set it. Okay. Log in. Okay, so now I have a password, so I have to get the right password. I thought I had the right password. Okay, so I died when I was trying to decode the account before, so now I'm basically screwed. So what I'm going to do is delete the app to completely reset it. So that will get rid of the shared preferences, and now I'm starting from a clean slate. And log in. Good, so now I'm logged in. I'll create an account. And one more account. Okay, and show that for safety. Rotate. Ooh, it worked. And my account stuff is there. So now if I rotate, I'll probably get a crash here because I haven't set M current account. So let's see if I get a crash. Oh, I didn't get a crash, it just went clear. That's actually probably not too bad. Okay, so now let's exit the program completely. So I backed out, and now I'm going to start the password manager. I start up locked because I'm not saving the password out to disk or anything. I'm try to log back in. I'm logged in, and my stuff is still here. Okay, and then the only thing that I have in terms of disk footprint is just the encrypted strings for the account and an encrypted version of the password stored in the activity manager. So I think this is pretty secure.